So thank you. Great. Great. Thank you all very much for joining us tonight. We have, this is our now second virtual open house. Our first one was this morning. We've now hosted some virtual visits, so individual tours and visits to our school, and we're going to continue to do that, as well as meet and greet with several specific members of our community. But for this evening, what we have for our open house is a number of my colleagues to tell you a little bit more about Stanstead College. We're going to show our virtual video, so you'll get a chance to tour the school in 8.5 minutes to see, and I hope that you will just bear with me, because when I do share the video on YouTube, it is a little choppy, and I'm happy to share the link to that on our Stanstead College YouTube site as well. But I will share that video tonight as we go through the evening. So I'll introduce myself first. I'm pleased to meet all of you. My name is Joanne Carruthers, and I'm the Associate Head of School here and the Director of Admissions. This is my 26th year at the school. So I'm pretty committed to this place. Both my children have been attended the school and now both graduated. My daughter is now at York, and my son is just starting his post-secondary education, like many, online, but he is going to school in person the latter half of this semester. So both my kids have been here, and many of my colleagues who you will meet tonight, their children have either been here, or one member of my staff who will meet with you today, Carrie Reynolds, who is actually a student here, as well as having her son attend the school. So a lot of commitment to the school with all of my colleagues who you'll meet. And we will start it off with an introduction by our head of school, Mike Wolf. Over to you, Mike.
I thought you were going to say, and there was one person who still had a child here.
You can, I'll leave that to you.
Me. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. You're probably wondering, who's that guy showing his shoes and everything? Well, I'm the head of the school, Mike Wolf. I've been the head for the last 16 years. And I have had two, a son and a daughter who have graduated, and now my youngest, who's in grade 9. And even though she lives at home, I never see her because she's always up at the school and at the residence having a lot of fun with her friends. So I just wanted to welcome everybody. And I wanted to say, first of all, that you made a great choice to tune in tonight to hear about a great school. But if you are looking at any of the schools that are accredited schools that are part of the network that we're in across Canada, you really can't make a bad choice. You can't. They're all very good schools. Having said that, of course, we think we're the best school. And we are different from a lot of other schools, not just because of our location, but because of our size and because of what we do here. And we've been around for a long time. We're almost 150 years old, which is pretty exciting. So if you come to the school, you'll probably be here for the 150th anniversary in a year or two, and that's going to be a pretty big deal and going to be very special to be a part of. I don't want to really talk a whole lot about the different areas, academics, athletics, student life, because there are people on here tonight who are going to talk about it. The main thing I wanted to say to you was really look closely, because it's all about fit. If you're looking for a big urban school, we're not the place, because we're located in a very small town and we're a very small school. We only have a couple of hundred students. Normally we'd have about 250 students, and that's great. I mean, that means that you get lots of personal attention. The other great advantage these days is that we are basically operating as just about normal. And what I mean by that is we have in-person classes. We have a very safe rural environment. There are no COVID cases here. We have maximum health precautions and services. We have a lot of supervised and safe extracurricular and regular activities. So for example, we're doing all of our sports right now. We're doing all of our weekend activities, and we have the best weekend activity schedule, I think, in Canada right now. If you come here, You're going to be part of that. Great academics, great university placement, great sports activities, both competitive and recreational, and really a chance to make friendships that will last a lifetime. It's an intense experience here. You're always busy. Some of my colleagues are going to talk about what is required, what is expected, what you get the chance to do. And, you know, when we speak to alums, to people who've graduated, the thing that they often say is that they have met their best friends here at Stansted because they're with them all the time, really from the time they get up in the morning till the time they go to sleep at night. They're studying with them, playing with them, eating with them, doing all those things, and it creates fantastic bonds. And I think the thing that you will find from every one of my colleagues who's speaking is that everyone here, and all of them have been here a long time, and I think that says something. Everyone here is in the people business, in the relationship business. That's really what it's all about. And our job that we all take extremely seriously is to support the students who are here, to build their confidence, to get them ready for the next step. And I think all of my colleagues would say the same thing. You know, we had students here who are now friends of ours. You know, we have to kind of encourage them, say, hey, you don't have to call me Mr. Wolf now that you're 35 years old. You can't call me by my first name, which sometimes they just can't do. But that's really, you know, the type of thing that we want. We want to have those very close relationships with people. And I was mentioning all this morning, and I don't see him on here, but our director of athletics, Mr. Van Dyke, said, you know, you talked about caring and all of that thing, but you forgot one really important word. And I said, what's that? And he said, the word love. And, you know, that's so important. I really hope, and I really believe that what the students here feel is they feel loved, they feel cared for. And Joanne always says, you know, this is a family environment, and that's really what it's about. You can't just be a teacher here and expect to come in the morning at 8:30 and go home at 4 o'clock. You have to really adopt the lifestyle of being a boarding school faculty member here, which means, you know, you're basically on all the time that we're in class, or in session rather, because all of our teachers teach, they coach, they run a club, they do residence duty. They are involved in every single aspect of the students' lives. And it takes a special person to do that. And I think we're very fortunate in that we have a faculty of special people who not only want to do it, but love to do it. So thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to, I'm not sure who Joanne's going to tell me who's next. And if you have any questions, we're very happy to answer them. You can also put them in the chat feature, and probably I'll have a shorter little spiel at the end to close out. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Mike. And yes, I actually did forget to mention that right at the beginning. Just in terms of questions, we will have a period of time at the end of this open house for you to ask questions. You could do that in person, but if you have things that you would like to know as we go along, please feel free to put them in the chat. We're going to address questions from everyone at the end. We have some general questions that were shared with us beforehand, but please don't be shy. And actually, I'm the next one who's going to speak to you a little bit about the admissions process and our school in general. I'll keep it quite brief, and then I'm going to pass it on to our academic director and our director of university guidance. So I'll just talk a little bit about the admissions process and our school in general. We have a very international mix of students here, but the majority of our students, 50% of our students, are actually Quebec students, with most of those coming from the province of Quebec. The other, about 15% of our students are from the United States, many of whom actually cross the border, not during these times when the border is closed, but many of whom do cross the border each day to come to school and return home at the end of the day. And we also have boarding students from the US. And we have about 35% of our student population that come from international countries around the world, more than 22 countries around the world, who are coming here at all grade levels. So we have international students in grade 7, we have international students in grade 12, a really neat mix. About 60% of our student population are males, about 40% are females. So we have a nice mix of boys, and that shifts a little bit, but we do have a little more space in terms of residences for boys than we do for girls at this point. We're working on that, but at this point we have more space for for boys, excuse me. And just in terms of the process to apply for our school, we want to know everything about you. With a student population of about 250 students, you can imagine that every student that comes into our school, everyone who's here, has a big impact. So whether you are a strong athlete, whether you're a debater, whether it's something you want to discover about yourself as a student, you want to contribute in terms of drama, music, if you're a leader just in any other way, everyone can have an impact at our school. So we want to know not just about your grades. Of course, your grades are important, and our primary purpose here and mission is to get you to the next level, admission to university and success at university, not just admission. So we want to know what your grades are. So we ask for transcripts. We ask for references from your current teachers, from your school. We want to know what kind of student you are and your strengths and weaknesses in your classes. We want to hear from a personal reference, like a coach or a friend of the family, to tell us a little bit more about what you are, who you are, and your character outside of school and outside of your family. We ask for information from your family as well. We have an interview with every student. Now we're doing almost all of these virtually, but in normal times, we also have a lot of visits in person where we do an interview in person, really just to get to know you. We ask students to do our admissions test or a similar admissions test to get another snapshot into their academic capability, their reasoning and logic. And we ask students to write a statement of interest letter or essay, which really is, why do you want to come to Stanstead College? What do you want to do in the future? Basically, why should we accept you to be in our school? What is it about you that makes you unique? And what can you contribute to our school? So we put all of that together, and that's what we're looking for. So when people ask about minimum average and so on, I can say that the majority of our students here are very strong students academically, but they're not the only ones. We have students that we need to work with to bring them from a 70-something% average and bring them up to closer to reaching that potential that we know they have. So we look at academics and really a whole picture for our students coming in. And we really, in terms of you coming to be part of our family, we want to know what kind of student you are. And of course, just like you as a family, this is a big investment for all of you to consider boarding or even coming to a day school like this. It's a big decision for all of you. And so we hope that you will also get to know us just like we will try to get to know you. So that's just a little synopsis into the admissions process. I'm going to pass it along now to, I hope he is online, our academic director, Andrew Blair, who is going to tell you a little bit more about our academic program. Mr. Blair.
Sitting in the back room, just doing a little bit of paperwork, so I apologize for that. It's all good. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing well, and thanks so much for taking the time to join us. I just want to take a few minutes to talk about the academics. Quite broadly, we basically run two schools in one here. We have a grade 7 to 11 program that falls under the umbrella of the Ministry of Education in Quebec, and we follow their curriculum. And then we also have a grade 12 program, which isn't endorsed by Quebec, but it is accredited by another body, and I'll talk about them a little bit later. And for the most part, that grade 12 program follows the advanced placement curriculum out of the College Board in the United States. When it comes to curriculum, we upgrade pretty much everything that we get from the ministry beginning in grade 10. So we have advanced courses in math, advanced courses in English, advanced courses in science. And because everybody has to take French in Quebec high school, particularly grade 10 and grade 11, we have 5 levels of French, starting in beginner. So if you don't speak French, not an issue. Come here, we'll teach you, get you the basics, all the way through to people who are born mother tongue French speakers. So we keep that life going as well. So the good thing about the advanced curriculum, it ensures that all the students are not only really well prepared for the ministry exams, that happens at grade 10 and grade 11, but they're also extraordinarily well prepared for the grade 12 year. When you get to grade 12 at Stansted, you have to take 6 courses. You have to take an English, you have to take a math, and then you get 4 electives. And really there you get to branch out and choose to do whatever you want to do. And basically the research has shown us that for most of the programs, a lot of the universities are looking for, math and in English and other stuff. So that's why we include that as part of our you must have. The AP program is designed to deliver academic programs equivalent to first-year university. So a student who earns a high enough grade at the year-end AP exam, they actually get first-year university credits. And we do have one wonder student. Every school has one wonder student, and we had one of them. And he wrote enough AP exams in his grade 11 and grade 12 year and got high enough marks in those AP exams that he went straight into second-year university. So that's a pretty cool accomplishment. And he did it all at Stansted, but in high school. So the AP program really does sort of endorse itself when it comes to the university credits. So the nice thing about the advanced placement program, though, is it gives students a chance to challenge themselves in their area of interest. IB is a really great program, but it is just that, it's a program. You have to take their prescribed higher level courses, regular level courses, and then you have to do the theory of knowledge. But in the advanced placement program, if you want to take one advanced placement course, no problem. You want to take 6? Well, that'd be really challenging, but you could take 6 advanced placement courses. But it stands to, we offer actually for a small school, a huge range. We offer 14 AP courses, 2 in English, 2 maths, 3 different sciences, 3 humanities courses, 2 in the visual arts, and also AP French at both the grade 11 and the grade 12 level. So it's quite a broad program. It gives students a chance to flex their muscles where they would like to advance, but it also, as I said before, gives them a chance to earn some first-year university credits. And those are invaluable. When you get to university, it's always nice to have a credit or an elective in your back pocket. So if you want to have a shorter semester, one semester, it could be your first term there, you got that credit, you stick it in your back pocket and away you go. So it's a nice little thing to have. As we keep moving forward from year to year, the academic program grows under the leadership and mentoring of, I think, an extraordinary group of department heads. Nikki Campbell is our head of English. Jean-Jacques Prévost is our head of languages. Matthew Thompson is our head of humanities, and Lisa Smith is the head of math and science. And these folks have been working with for the past 10 years, and they really know their stuff. They're very proud of the programs, and they continuously push to have the best curriculum and the best programs for all the students to drive them into being in the best place possible to get into university. And just a couple more things. We have a support program at our school. It's called the Learning Resource Program. And with all the things that students have to do all day, go to school, go to sports, study, do clubs, activities. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot to do. But if life does get a little bit challenging, we do have a place that you can go to get some extra help and some tutoring. The program was developed and it's still led by Lisa Smith. And it's a place where students can go to get extra help and tutoring in almost any subject, any day of the week. And that's on top of all the extra help that all the teachers give regularly before tests, before exams. If you're really freaking out, whoa, got a math test tomorrow, what am I going to do? You go in and see your teacher, they'll put it on an extra help session for you, and they'll calm your nerves just enough so that you can get through those exams and get some great marks. Finally, we have an incredible university guidance program. It's certainly one of the best that I've ever seen, and this is led by Erin Hessen. And this program really supports all of the students on their journey through the university application process. It begins, I'd say, in earnest around grade 10. You get an introduction to what are those universities all about? What are the programs about? What do I have to do? Ms. Heschen will get into that. But that program continues from grade 10 all the way through grade 11 and right to the end of grade 12 until you get into a university. And Erin and her team are incredible working with you. The amount of time that she puts into this is amazing. So there's a lot of support there too. That's all I want to say. It gives you a broad sort of perspective on what we do here, how we do what we do, and how successful we've been in the past and going forward. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop them in the chat. I can answer the questions for the departments, and Erin's going to talk to you now a little bit about university guidance, but I'm going to give it back to Joanne for just a second to do the introduction. Joanne.
I will do that exactly. Thank you so much. So next to share information with you is Erin Hessen, who has been overseeing our university guidance program for, I'm not even sure how many years now, a long time now, 10 plus. She can tell you exactly. Please welcome Erin Hessen.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me, Joanne? Give me a thumbs up. All right, perfect. I had some problems with my microphone. So Yes, I am working in university guidance, and Carrie Reynolds, who you will meet a little bit later, also works with us in university guidance. And I've been doing this, I think, for 16 years. So it's a long time, but it's been a great learning experience, as your students will learn one day in the future that applying to university can be a very taxing and overwhelming thing. And it helps when you do it 300 to 400 times a year for 16 years, you gain some experience in navigating some of those challenging waters. So as Andrew said, university guidance here at Stansted begins in 10th grade. And in 10th grade, we start working with students once a cycle. So that's once every 7 days. And we start focusing primarily on career options and planning for and learning about all the different career options that students may be interested in based on their interest in school and their abilities and all the kinds of things that they're wondering about that are out there in the world. And they spend the entire year kind of exploring their own interests and abilities and goal setting and learning about what's out there in the future. And then by the time they get to grade 11, that's where we start to learn a little bit more about the admissions process and some school research, and particularly about the American application process and all the different pieces of that puzzle that go together, including the dreaded standardized tests and how they play a role in preparing and learning about those tests. And if you're interested in Canada, then there's a group that learns about specific Canadian school applications and all the research that goes into that, and also to the international schools. And then when you get to grade 12, that's when we say the rubber really hits the road. But we don't want you to come into grade 12 feeling like you've not already had a head start. So we start that really in the spring of grade 11, where we invite universities to come in and give presentations and interact and connect with our kids about all the important things about making this what is going to be, after the decision to come to Stanstead College, of course, one of the most important decisions that you will make in your young life. So we invite the universities to come in, and we have what's called Future Fest for the grade 11s, where they really get kind of a kickstart on their application, and then they get to work on that throughout the summer. And when they come in grade 12, they're ready. You know, that's a big term for students to really work on some of those challenging courses that Andrew was talking about, and to reach their academic goals. And we want to make sure that they have everything they need to reach their goals outside of academics through the university guidance program. And I was saying earlier today that just about 2 weeks ago, we had 37 universities on a Friday. All the grade 12 students came out of their classes for the day just to get into the headspace of future planning and goal setting. And we had 37 different universities present and interact in a live format, although by distance, with some of our students. And then they walked away with kind of an idea of what the schools wanted, but really that personal connection, which we think is really important, not only in our education in high school, but secondary education. I think they're seeking that too. So our goal is to help universities and our students be able to connect with each other and work together and support them all the way through the application process until they're ready to reach their goals. And that's it for now, but if you have some more questions, I'll be here at the end.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting myself. My apologies. Thank you so much, Erin, for sharing. And I know that some people have already used the chat for some questions. Thank you for doing that. I am going to, James, I tried to message you, but I'm going to have Carrie Reynolds speak next, who is our Director of Student Life. She is in the residence this evening overseeing a group of grade 12 students. So she needs to speak to you earlier rather than later, because our study starts very soon when the kids will be coming in and out and need more of her undivided attention. So Carrie, over to you. Carrie Reynolds, our Director of Student Life.
Hi folks, how's everybody doing? I'm here in Cowan House just hanging out with the grade 12. So if you see me doing this, I'm just waving to people. Hey. Yes, as Joanne mentioned, I am a former student. I graduated in 1990, and as per what Mike said earlier, the friends that you make at Stansted are lifelong friends. I'll look at my Facebook friend list and I'll go Stansted, 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 Stansted. You know, there's just, it's a whole different world, and you can't appreciate it until you've experienced it. So I just want to start there. So I am the Director of Student Life. So Student Life is comprised of anything that is not academics or athletics. So all the fun stuff essentially, because athletics and academics aren't fun, right? And Mr. Blair's laughing. Perfect. So the first thing I want to talk to you about are residences. Of course, we have 4 different residences on campus. There are Cowan House, where I am right now, is a grade 12 residence. And then we have Davis House, which is the senior boys residence. And then we have Webster House, which is the girls residence from grade 7 to 11. And Bugby House, which is the junior boys residence. And in those residences, you have house directors that actually live there. And they have student leaders that live in the house that are in grade 11 or 12. We call them prefects. And we also have teachers on duty. They're on duty during the week. So for instance, I am on duty tonight. So there's a lot of supervision and there's a lot of hands-on learning in residence, even if it isn't academics. The next thing is the advisor program that I want to talk to you about. Every faculty member here has a little family under their wing. So they have roughly 7 or 8 students that they sort of supervise and are like a pseudo parent to, and they are the bridge between the parents and the student. Have group meetings throughout the week, and little hangout sessions, or for instance, you might have bring some donuts to a meeting one day, that kind of thing. Celebrate birthdays, just little groups of families on campus. Clubs, we have a variety of different clubs on Thursday afternoons. Every student has to have a club on Thursday afternoons. So those club choices can range from anything from student council to an art club to the good deeds club to the investment club, anything you name it, we pretty much have it. And then the last thing that I want to speak to you about is our weekend animation program. Mike alluded to that earlier, saying that we probably have the best weekend animation program in the country right now. I'd have to agree with that. I was online with a QAIS student life conference call earlier in the week, and everybody was complaining about how they're struggling to have student life activities and events at their schools. And I said, we're having a great time here. All the kids are involved. We have so many different activities. We have, scavenger hunts. We have dodgeball. We have all sorts of things going on the weekends, and the kids are absolutely engaged and having a great time. So that's pretty much, I don't want to talk forever. As I said, I am on duty and kids are coming in now. So thank you very much. And I'll pass it back to Joanne.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Really appreciate it. Those events and activities, if any of you have not or are so inclined, our social media sites, our Instagram at Stanstead College, our Facebook pages, you can follow us on Twitter, but probably for most of the students who are following us on Instagram, you'll really get a sense of what's going on a day-to-day basis and weekends and so on at the school. Our social media is very, it's one of the favorite things that I do at the end of each day, and I'm here. So I hope you'll check it out. And it's a really good way to see really the day-to-day, the things that are going on. And it's not just the highlights, it's really the everyday. So please take a peek at that. Before I go on, the last 2 people who are speaking this evening, and before we go to Q and the questions and answers, I'm going to share our video. And I'm going to give you a little caveat before. This morning when we had the open house, something went a little quirky with my Zoom when I showed the video. If there's an issue, our head of school will probably take over moderating this meeting if something happens. Please enjoy our video. I will just start sharing my screen. Hold on a minute. Give me 1 second. All right. All right, enjoy. Thank you all. I hope that was clear enough. I know it was, sometimes it gets a little choppy and I can't always see exactly what's in front of me. So thank you for your patience if it wasn't crystal clear. A little brief tour into our school and just to see each and every residence and building and the facilities that we get the privilege of living in throughout the year. I'm going to introduce my next colleague. James Ryu is our Director of Hockey Operations, and we'll talk to you about one area of athletics, and he will be followed by our Director of Athletics, Eric Van Dyke. So, Mr. James Ryu.
Thanks, Joanne. Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir tout le monde. Darlene, I see you sitting on the couch. Remember you from hockey camp in August. Glad to see you online here. So I want to focus on 5 quick things. First and foremost, a little introduction. I'm starting my 20th year at the school. I'm a teacher, hockey director, and I'm very passionate about everything that's red and white. That being said, the first thing that we're looking for in our hockey program are good character kids that want to work hard, and kids that want to be in an academic environment. We're a school first and foremost, and being someone that's disciplined and excited about reading and doing the work is certainly something that we look for above all, not just talent on ice, but so academics are something that are really important in this environment, as has already been said by some of my other colleagues. Secondly, the hockey program right now comprises 4 teams, soon to be 5 next year. We have a top level girls program, arguably the best in the country. We will be rolling out a second girls team next year. We have a varsity boys team that challenges every year to be the top in the country. We have a prep U16 team that has grown by leaps and bounds over the last 5 years. And we also have a thirds team, which is predominantly kids in grade 7, 8, 9, that is also getting better each and every year. So we basically have a place for everybody that wants to be involved in hockey. We also have a Learn to Skate club on Thursdays that offers people that may not be good enough or want to be on a competitive team but can continue to be able to skate. And I should say that we also have 2 rinks in the vicinity of campus, one directly at the back and one town rink about 3 minutes at the end of campus, which offers people an opportunity to take on a great Canadian tradition that is skating outside. Third, what makes our hockey program unique? I think we have a real good focus on development. Everybody uses that term, but our kids are skating 5-6 times a week, sometimes 7. Right now, 5 to 6. We have a good balance of on-ice activity as well as off-ice training with some very passionate adults at the helm, and that's been continuing to get better each and every year. I should say that in a Quebec right now that's COVID newsworthy and so many different red zones all across the province, all of our hockey players have been skating since September 11th. We've benefited from being in this environment. Some of our teams have even been playing some games in a different context. So we're very blessed and we're very fortunate, and I'm very excited to be able to tell you that. Fourth, every year we meet hundreds of people that go through the application process. Some end up here in September and some not. And if you're talking hockey, you're not necessarily all that excited about being a part of a boarding school or being part of a real prep school environment. And you may not necessarily be the person at the top of the line that we're looking for. So we're looking for kids that want to be a part of this prep school environment, that want to be a part of an environment that will stretch you, that will push you out of your comfort zone, that will hold you accountable, that will challenge you in the classroom and on the field and on the ice. And sometimes we'll suck every minute out of every day. So it's a very unique environment that pushes people, but I think one that creates lifelong learners, one that offers you a chance to meet kids from all over the world and develop lifelong friends, and one that is so rich, compared to my public school background. And lastly, I should say that, if you come here, there's no guarantee. If you work hard, you'll finish grade 11. If you work hard, you'll finish grade 12. If you work hard, you'll have an opportunity to go on and study somewhere. From a hockey perspective, we've moved our girls on by leaps and bounds compared to other programs. Same, I would say, for our boys. So our top kids go and play junior hockey somewhere in Canada. Our top kids go on to NCAA programs. Our top girls go on to NCAA programs. Just this past spring, we had 5 current Spartans that made Team Canada U17 or U18 programs. We've had a number of NHL drafted players over the course of the last 10 years. We've had a number of Team Canada players on our girls team over the last few years. So our top kids are going to the top places, but everybody that's a part of the program is going to college. And that's essentially what we do, is we're a university prep school and we move our kids on to school. And our most talented kids will have wonderful opportunities in hockey as well. So merci beaucoup pour votre temps. I look forward to any questions. If you do visit campus or you sign up for any personal hockey visits with myself or our coaching staff, it'll be a pleasure to go into case-by-case detail based on your reality and what kind of questions you may have. So thank you.
Thank you very much, James. Thank you. Our last, my last guest, I guess, well, not really guest, but colleague to introduce to you is, yeah, you're a guest of our Zoom call, I guess, Mr. Van Dyke. Mr. Van Dyke is actually, of all of us here, you've been working at Stansted the longest.
Easy.
I know, I'm just saying,
Easy.
longer than me by just a year. Mr. Van Dyke is our Director of Athletics, please.
Good evening, everyone. Yep, I'm the Director of Athletics. This is my 5th year as a director, and as Joanne alluded to, this is my 28th year at Stanstead College, so I definitely like it here. My daughter also attended Stanstead College, just graduated a few years ago. She spent all 6 years here, so she must have liked it also. So most schools have athletics, but I'd like to tell you what sets Stanstead College apart from other schools. So there's 3 main things that I love about my school. So first of all, there's mandatory participation from all students. Not everyone does this, but we value physical well-being and we put our money where our mouth is. Every student, all 3 terms, must participate in the athletics program. So there's different levels of participation, of course, from highly competitive senior teams to intramural activities, but participation nonetheless. And also, because every student's involved, this means that we can field a lot of teams and a lot of programs. So 34 different teams over 19 different programs. So this is a lot of teams and programs for only 200 kids. Now, on the flip side of this, the second thing that I really like is the fact that we have mandatory coaching from all of our teachers. So I consider coaching just another form of teaching. And we mandate that every teacher here at Stansted teaches 2 out of 3 sports terms. So that means every athlete has a professional educator coaching them, teaching them the proper values, life lessons, character building, all the good stuff that you get from playing team sports. A lot of schools have volunteer coaches from outside the teaching profession, and not to disparage these volunteers, they're not educators. So we make sure that we have the best experts possible teaching and coaching your child. And finally, there is our small size, which I consider a huge advantage. If a student wants to play on a certain Stansted sports team, they're almost guaranteed to make it because we're so small. So for example, a student that would have no chance to play basketball at a school with 1,500 students can be a part of the basketball experience here at Stansted because we have very, very few cuts. So all of those great things that come from athletics and team sports, we provide the most opportunity anywhere for students to benefit from that. Now, there's one other thing that I'd like to mention, and that's how we are dealing with COVID-19. And the short answer is better than pretty well everyone else. In most of the country right now, students finish their day and then they go home and get none of the benefit of high school sports. But here at Stansted, we're running almost business as usual. In fact, we plan on offering 1 or 2 more programs this year than we normally do. So the question is, why can we offer so many sports when so many schools are offering nothing? So we can do this for 3 reasons. First, our teacher coaches are extremely dedicated. Secondly, our athletics facilities are huge for such a small school. So this allows us to better incorporate physical distancing into our sports programs. We have 2 gyms, 6 soccer fields, an outdoor track, 2 tennis courts, state-of-the-art arena, 2 squash courts, an outdoor basketball court, a new outdoor beach volleyball court, 2 weight rooms, access to softball diamond, and miles of cross-country running and skiing trails. So all of this space, this gives us rare flexibility to keep our students active and healthy, not only for the fall, but for the upcoming winter and spring as well. And last but not least, we can do these things because we are very, very safe. So for our students to be able to play all the sports they've been playing after school, there are a lot of rules and protocols to follow. In fact, all the protocols are here in this 6-page document, which is also on our website. The rules are exhausting and incredibly detailed, but our coaches and athletes follow them to the letter because it allows us to offer our students a top-tier athletic experience. So ultimately, and at the risk of sounding a little boastful, it doesn't matter if it's a regular year or if it's the perfect storm of insanity that is this year. Our philosophy, our structure, our small size, our location, and the dedication of our teachers and coaches makes being a Stansted Spartan about as good as it gets for a high school athletic experience. I love my school. So that's all for me. If you have any questions about anything athletics, please ask. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. The enthusiasm that Mr. Van Dyke shared with you all is certainly shared by the rest of us. This is a place where teachers don't just teach, people don't just work, it becomes part of our lifestyle. And I think that's the number of years that all of us have been here at the school, and many other teachers as well, and the number of students that stay for 6 years or as long as they can, is really a testament to that. So thank you all to all of my colleagues for your enthusiasm and your words. I know that there have been a few questions on the chat as we've been going through. So please let us know if you have any questions. If you would like to unmute yourselves and ask your question personally, please do so. J'aurais dû le dire avant, mais si vous avez des questions, si vous voulez les poser en français, vous êtes la bienvenue. We will answer them in both languages. By chat, I don't think I will write my answer in French, but I will gladly answer it. I will gladly speak to it. So please feel free to do so. I know that our head of school has a few other words, but I'll just give it a moment. I'll check. I know there's something on the chat, so I'll just make sure. James Ryu has shared his contact information, and following this meeting, this open house, we will share all of our contact information with all of you, and this recording will be available should you wish to share it with someone else or watch it again. But are there any other questions that people would like to just ask by unmuting themselves? Please just feel free to do so if you'd like. There's always that shy. It's like being in the class, right? So there was one question that was asked, and I'll ask it again. I'm not sure if it was for this morning's meeting or this afternoon's. Andrew, you answered it this morning. I think that Erin is on as well, but the question had to do with the ease or the difficulty, where our students typically go to university and the process to enter a Quebec university following graduation from Stanstead College's grade 12 program. Erin, would you like to speak to that? Thank you. Perfect.
Yep, I'm good. Right now, as of last year, about 21% of our students entered university or college, or were accepted into university and college into the United States. And actually about 50% of our graduating class for the last 2 years has entered into university in Quebec. So there's lots of familiarity there, especially, or I would say particularly, with the English-speaking universities in the province of Quebec, being Concordia, McGill, and Bishops. And you would go directly out of grade 12 into your first year of university, but you would do a, which you may not be familiar with, but a 4-year university degree as opposed to a 3-year degree, which you would do at Cégep. At Bishops, they just call it a 4-year program. At McGill, they would call it a freshman year program that you would go into depending on the faculty that you enter into. And like all university programs, your first year of university is really focused around that broad range of introductory courses. So you would fulfill that while you're at university as opposed to fulfilling it in your second year of Cégep. So the time, whether you go to Cégep or whether you go to grade 12, the time you spend throughout high school and post-secondary education, as long as everything is done in a timely fashion, is the same. So the process to apply from grade 12 is direct entry to the university. The process varies depending on the university, but it is directly to the university from grade 12. And we would support students through the research and definitely through the application process and help them with those intricacies. It's a little bit, it's also the same for the French schools. Oftentimes coming from, even if you have your relevé and your first langue français, sometimes the French universities, when you're coming from a French grade 12 program, from an English grade 12 program, will ask you to also complete a French language exam before you go to the French universities, but they also have what they call année de préparatoire.
Thank you so much. The next question I think I'll address to you, Andrew, and that is, how difficult is it for a student who comes from an American high school to transfer in grade 10, coming into Quebec at the grade 10 level from outside of the province and maybe US in particular?
Well, there's no problem at all. The quick answer is it's quite seamless. The meat of the answer really goes like this, that we have so many students coming from all over the world into grade 10 in particular. That's a very popular landing grade for a lot of students. The first 2 weeks of school tend to be an introductory, just like Erin said, an introductory review for everybody. Take 2 weeks, let's set the baseline. Do you all know these fundamental things in math and science and English and French, etc.? And once we get through that 2 weeks, we put people in the proper places, and then we all carry on together. So whether you're coming from the United States, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, Germany, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. That first 2 weeks of school is all about trying to lay a solid foundation, or at least finding if there's any holes in the curriculum. And once we do that assessment, we carry on together. That said, if there are some issues, like there's a curriculum gap between the school or the country or the province that you've come from to where we are, we have this amazing Learning Resource Center, and we will send you there for a couple of days, a week, however long it takes, but you'll get the tutoring that you need to build your foundation where it needs to be in order to get through and succeed in grade 10. I hope that helps.
I hope so too. Thank you very much, Andrew. The next question has to do with NCAA accreditation. I'll leave that to Erin or James.
I think that's me, James.
Thank you.
So the NCAA is the eligibility for the athletics in the United States, and they don't have an accreditation of a school per se. Students are expected to achieve 16 core courses between the time they enter grade 9 until they complete grade 12, with only one course that they can complete for those 16 core credits after the grade 12 year. And students coming from the province of Quebec can qualify for what they call an early eligibility with 14 core credits at the end of grade 11 if they're eligible to receive their Quebec diploma. That might be a little bit too complicated, but essentially as long as the student is taking academic courses and doing well and earning, their NCAA their eligibility depends upon the courses they choose and the grades that they receive in those courses, as well as, at least until this point, not for this year or next year, but the SAT scores can also play into it. So it does vary on a case-by-case basis, and certainly depending on if you're a transfer student, where you were studying in 9th and 10th grades and what courses you took there. But overall, if a student were to come in grade 9 and graduate in grade 11 and go on to grade 12, they'd have no challenge whatsoever with the NCAA Eligibility Center.
Thank you. Hopefully that answers that question. Did you want to add something to that, James?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is that if a student athlete is a gifted and talented athlete, through Erin and her office and the coaches that are always working the phones, building relationships with college coaches in the United States, we move student athletes on every year. So I think, that's very positive. And I would say, coming back to the first point that I made earlier about academics, is that eligibility, can be an issue if a student isn't necessarily achieving the best marks that they can. So no matter what school you're in, no matter what prep school you go to, if you're doing the best you can in the classroom, then usually eligibility questions become, they could still happen, but it's less important. It's less of an issue if you're always doing well in school. So it comes back to the first thing I talked about, is academics.
Thank you so much, James. The last question that's posted right now has to do with visits, tours, and interviews in person. So I encourage you to visit our admissions page to find out about our virtual tours, which are individualized. So we're not offering in-person visits at this point. We're offering virtual tours, virtual meet and greets, and these are all individualized to students and parents' interests and needs. So depending on your grade level, you're going to meet students while you tour. From that grade level, you're going to see the residence that is appropriate to what grade and so on that you are going into. So we do all of those virtually. We hope to be able to offer them in person. We have some students joining us up here. We hope to be able to offer them in person as well in the very near future, but we're not sure when that is going to be. So there's a lot of virtual events. Any of you who are joining us tonight for our open house, if you'd like to book a tour, we're doing them on Tuesdays and Thursdays morning and afternoon, but we're also offering individual times if people want to join us at other times. For those of you who are peeking, Miss Reynolds actually has Vicky, who is joining us up there in Cowan House. Vicky hails from Brazil, is in grade 12, and is the fourth sibling to attend Stanstead College. So thanks for joining us, Vicky. There's our student representative. I am going to pass the baton back to our head of school, who had a few words to say to close up our open house. I hope he is there. Mike?
I'm here.
Yay, all right.
So I just want to thank everybody for their time and their attention, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but I've had Ms. Quamo and Mr. Rondina at the top of my screen, and you guys are focused, man. Like your attention is impressive. Same with everybody else. Edward and Darlene, I can see you down below. You know what, Mr. Van Dyke, I can remember I was here when he first arrived, and he was here like 3 weeks, and he said, I'm staying here for the rest of my career. That was 28 years ago. And he made that decision in like a couple of weeks. So actually, all of us really have worked together for a long time since I started as head. Joanne and Eric and James and Erin, and then Andrew was a good friend before he arrived, came a couple of years later. And, you know, it's great, even though we see each other and hear all these presentations all the time, it's really inspiring to hear those words. And to see that film really, I don't know, I got sort of wistful, I don't know, brought back some really, it's just, sometimes I think we don't realize when you work here, you know, just what a beautiful place you work in, and to see the film like that and to see the kids having such fun. I kind of looked at it and says, doesn't anybody go do any work here? They're just having fun, but actually they do. It's a lot of work. And I really wanted to point that out, that you know, my view is that one of the most important lessons you learn here, aside from everything in the classroom and everything outside of the classroom in the athletic arena and in the residence, is how to organize and manage your time. And I said it this morning, and I could see Mr. Blair nodding when I said it. I said, if you are unable to organize and manage your time, you're going to have a tough time here. Why? We have a very structured program. You are busy essentially from the time you get up in the morning until the time you go to bed. Yeah, there's some free time, obviously, there's breaks, etc. But there are a lot of expectations. There are a lot of demands here. It's a very challenging academic program. It's a very involved athletic program. And there's so much else that's going on, as you can see from the video, just fun things that you want to be a part of. You got to make choices. You have to decide what are your priorities going to be. And, you know, I always say you can have anything you want, you just can't have everything you want. And that's a tough choice here because there's a lot to choose from and you have to prioritize. And I think the lesson that gets taught really lasts for the rest of your life. And it certainly does in university. And we hear that from alums all the time. Our students who go to university and say, you know, university actually was a lot easier than Stansted because they don't have the same expectations really. If you don't want to go to class, you're not going to have a professor chasing after you. And I think all of us liked our university time. It's a very special moment. I think there's an argument you could say that university time is the best time of your life because you've got freedom, but your parents are still there if you need them. But what you have here is you have people who really care about you and make sure that you do attend class and that you are doing your best. And, you know, Mr. Ryu tonight, you were tough on that, James, about, and I really liked it about, you know, we will, if you have dreams, we're going to support you in the pursuit of those dreams. But what we are about is making you and trying to support you to be a good person, to try to help you become the best person you can be. And Mr. You mentioned that if you're a hockey player, hey, you're going to get as much hockey as you want here, but you have to be able to do it, to carry the puck academically as well. And we want you to also push yourself to try something new. And I thought that was a great message that you said tonight, James. The hockey opportunities here really are second to none, but you want to take advantage of all the other opportunities that are here that also are second to none. I just think that this is it's a university prep school, but it's a life prep school. And I think the lessons and the experiences that you can get here are really going to set you up for success. We have great kids who come here. They're all, I can remember when I was in high school and I went to a really good public school, but it was almost kind of cool not to be, you know, too smart or not to really push yourself. And here you're surrounded by people who really want to challenge themselves, really want to do well, and really want to push themselves. And it's a really nice environment to be in. Joanne often says this, there's a place for everyone here. So you can always find your way. Not everyone here is a great hockey player. Not everyone here is a super smart mathematician. But there is a place for everyone here, and there's an acceptance level here. And I think particularly this year, because we're all together all the time. Normally we'd have teams that were traveling all the time and weekend tournaments, etc. Everyone's together here. And even though we can't do all of the things that we want to do, it's a really nice vibe, I guess is the word, when you go out on campus and just see everybody interacting and socializing and probably hanging out and making friends with people that sometimes, you know, they might not get to know as well. So it's a great spot to be. I would encourage you to speak to, if you know anyone who's gone here, I really think that that's an important thing to do. It's our job, obviously, to tell you what a fantastic place it is, but I think you can see if we're all pretty committed and pretty dedicated. We've been doing this for a long time, and if it wasn't rewarding for us, I don't think we would be doing it. But, you know, if you were here for an in-person tour, we'd have a student do that tour. Why? Because we want you to get the student perspective about what's going on here. And we have a lot of confidence that the students are going to tell you exactly what they think, which is that they're enjoying their time here and they're getting a lot out of it. So please do the research. As I said at the beginning, the fit is so important. It has to be a good fit for you. It's got to be a good fit for us. I can see from that attentiveness and smiles that maybe it is something that you would consider. We hope you will, and we'd love to have you come and join us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you. Thank you to all my colleagues, but especially thank you to all of those, all of the families who joined us this evening and took time out of your, no doubt, very busy schedules to find out more about Stansted. On behalf of everyone, thank you. Please connect with us after. My colleagues in admissions will be following up with each of you to offer you the opportunity to have an individualized tour, or if you just want to have more of a conversation. Everyone's story is different, and everyone is looking for something a little different. So please, don't be shy to stay connected with us, and we're really, really glad you joined us tonight. Merci beaucoup d'être ici. Merci pour votre attention. Thank you very much for being part of our second virtual. There's a lot of virtual events, and I know everyone is tired of all of these virtual events. So an even bigger heartfelt thanks that you sat through this time. So Stan the Moose, Mr. Wolf, on behalf of all of my colleagues, have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to staying in touch with all of you. Merci beaucoup. Bonne soirée. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everyone.